Welcome to Courageously Go, where we will venture into places we've been afraid to go. Women of the world, we are going to start a movement towards courage. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Courageously Go. My name is Debbie DePietro, your host, and this is the show where we have a global conversation about courage. And I'm so glad you're here. Each week we have an interesting guest and we talk about living a courageous life. Why do we do this? I believe that when we live from our hearts by choosing courage, the life of our dreams, and a better world for all are possible. No matter our age or circumstances, we never need to feel stuck or alone. Our essential truths are as follows. I choose courage. I use my voice. I embrace the new. I welcome challenge. I continue to grow. I am a woman of action. I courageously go. If any of those resonate with you, then you are most certainly in the right place. And on today's show, I'm going to introduce Diane Daniels. She's the founder of a Weight Loss Nation program, and she has her own podcast. This is from Diane. If you visit her website, she says this: "My name is Diane Daniels, and I'm the founder of Weight Loss Nation. I started Weight Loss Nation out of necessity. A lifetime of using food for comfort in between diets. I've tried every diet program out there. Had left me 80 pounds overweight and too tired to truly enjoy life. I needed to do something, but none of the programs I had tried had worked. I needed something new. And so I created it, and it worked." Diane Daniels, welcome to Courageously Go.
Thanks, Deborah. I'm so excited. I'm here. I'm excited to be here with you today.
I'm excited to have you. I think you've been doing a little bit of traveling, and I'm glad we were able to connect because I've been really wanting to learn more about this whole program. It sounds like you have quite an exciting community built around this, and you're doing a lot of good work out there helping people. So welcome. And I just would like to jump right in, and I often like to ask my guests, what are you excited about these days? What's getting you excited when you wake up in the morning?
Listen, when you're over 50, when you can wiggle your fingers and your toes and you're taking that first breath, that is a beautiful day.
That's right? A good day. I'm with you. I'm totally with you
great
on
day.
That.
And so besides that, so now you know you're alive. And the most important thing is that every day is a new day. And there's always such exciting and wonderful things that can happen during that day because it is a new day. If you miss a day, it's all over. Okay, so that's the end of it. So when it's a new day, everyone has to take advantage of that. There's so many wonderful opportunities out there every single day. That's what I'm excited about.
Isn't that the truth, though? And you're right. I'm over 50 myself, and you do get to this point in life where you don't take anything for granted, right? Each day is a gift, and with that, with that perspective, it really does put things in perspective, and so that's just awesome. And so with that being said, I would love to hear more about this Weight Loss Nation. I was on your Facebook yesterday and kind of looking at it. It just looks like you have an amazing community out there, and I'd love to learn more about it.
Well, Deborah, I got to tell you, it really started, we're going to go way back, all right?
Okay.
And I'm 7 years old.
Okay.
And my mom and dad are having an argument, and my mom and dad had lots of arguments. That was very typical in my household. They argued very frequently. But today, on this day, it was a really bad argument, and it scared me. Mm-hmm. So I had a 1-year-old sister, and I picked her up and I ran into the kitchen because it was just very loud. The voices were so violent. It really scared me to death at 7 years old. And I was in the kitchen and my heart was pounding because it was very different kind of argument. And I didn't understand. I didn't know what to do. And in a few minutes, I heard my mom and she was screaming my name. I mean, she was literally, "Diane, help me, help me." And I said, "Why is my mom calling me?" And I looked out of the kitchen and I peeked out and I could see my mom was curled up on the couch and my dad was leaning over her and he was beating her with his fists. And she's calling my name. She's, Diane, help me. Help. But Deborah, I was frozen. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I couldn't really do anything. My heart was pounding, and I almost couldn't even hear anything anymore. And I just felt so ashamed. That was the first thing. I felt this guilt, this huge feeling of guilt. And I felt like whatever a 7-year-old could feel like to be a coward, because to be courageous at 7, I really don't know if a 7-year-old child could be courageous or feel it. But I just felt like the most worthless human being on the planet at that moment, because I did nothing. I let my mom get beat. And soon after that, it was only within a couple of weeks, my dad moved out and they eventually got a divorce. But from that day, I was on a mission. I had this inner drive that just steered me in a direction that I had to help everybody that I could. That's just what I was doing. I don't think I recognized it, but I was trying to help and please everyone. And I was going to be the bravest soul on the planet. And I would play with the kids in the neighborhood, and I was going to excel. I was going to be at the best of everything that I could. And I was playing baseball with all the boys, and I was right there with the best of them. I was fantastic. Everybody wanted me on their team. Can you imagine a little 8-year-old, 9-year-old girl, and everybody wants you on their team? And it's crazy. But in between it all, and with school and trying to excel in school, whenever I would feel guilty, or if my mom would call my name and she would call your full name. A lot of parents do that. Diane, Sarah. When you hear that, that's trouble.
Yeah, well, for me, it was Deborah Lynn. I knew that was when my dad wanted me to clean my room. Deborah Lynn.
There you go. So a lot of you out there are going to resonate with that, because you know what that means. It's uh-oh. That's the uh-oh call.
That's the uh-oh call, yeah.
I would immediately, feeling that guilt, I rushed to food. And we had a junk drawer, and my mom would buy all the chips and the chocolate chip cookies, and all the crap was in this junk drawer, because I was raised during the time when processed food made its huge entry into America. And who the hell didn't love junk food? So when I felt that guilt, I ate, and I loved chocolate chip cookies, and I would eat Chips Ahoy cookies, and I loved potato chips, and I would just eat and eat and eat until I felt better, because that's all I knew what to do. And I went on through high school, and I gained weight, and my athleticism helped me to bring it down for a short term. And then I would gain weight again, because the guilt was just so built up. And I would be playing sports again, and I would lose weight. It was a total yo-yo effect, just being a natural teenager. And when I was 18 and I was in college, I took an emergency medical technician course as an elective. Just to take it. It just sounded okay. And amazingly, when we were doing CPR, I was like, to the instructor, I was like, you mean I could save somebody's life? And he was like, yes, you could be saving lives all day long. That's the point. You need to stabilize people and try to save the people you can and get them to the hospital. That's very, very important. You're here to stabilize them and save who you can. I was like, wow, that's what I want. I left college, and I immediately started working for the city of New York as an emergency medical technician, and I was stationed in Manhattan. I mean, it turned out to be the most wonderful job I've ever had in my life. I truly loved it, because that was my mission. I was here to help anyone and everyone I could, and now I'm doing it, right? So, I mean, I'm saving lives, Deborah. I am so brave. I'm running into burning buildings and dragging people out of burning cars, and wow, fearless. I'm so brave. And I felt good about myself. And a few years later, when I was 24, I worked very close alongside the police officers and the firemen. And I said, wow, if I become a police officer, now I can go catch the bad guys too. And I can still save lives because they're here on all these emergency calls. I was like, that's like the whole gamut. So I became a police officer. And I'm still saving lives. Now I'm arresting bad guys. And you know what? I was even returning kidnapped children to their mother's arms. I mean, who wouldn't love that feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I started going on calls of domestic violence, which I can't tell you was one of the most common calls I would go on as a police officer, I felt the guilt. I felt the shame. I felt the uselessness. And I would eat. I mean, I'm in Manhattan. Can you imagine all the wonderful food choices?
All the food, right? Okay. Yes.
So my weight just kept going up and up. And still feeling like a coward, still feeling useless, still feeling that shame, not deserving of anything good in my life, not deserving to be loved. And here I am saving lives, but nothing was solving that issue for me. And I went to the doctors when I was around 40, and I got on a scale and I weighed a little over 260 pounds. And the doctor was like yelling at me that you're too young to be this obese. You're going to kill yourself. You need to lose weight. I mean, so even my doctor, and for our generation, I mean, we held doctors to the highest esteem. Okay, nowadays it's not like that, but for our generation and our parents and our grandparents, we really held them to a high esteem. So again, I felt the shame and feeling useless. And wow, I'm like, I'm a police officer. I'm saving lives. It's like, well, you're too fat. So I just kept eating more. And Chips Ahoy used to come in a sleeve of plastic, if you remember. They used to come in 2 sleeves in a package. Well, I would eat a whole sleeve with no problem. That was just like my serving. He'd give me a sleeve of chocolate chip cookies, Chips Ahoy cookies. And that's all I knew to soothe me, to make me feel better. And years go on, and I'm almost 48 now, and my partner calls me and says, it's over. And after 16 years, you got to get out. You got to get out of the house. And in my head, I'm like, what? What do you mean? I thought this was going to be a forever, and this has been my home for 16 years. I'm like, what? And leaving that, again, I mean, the feelings were just overwhelming. And I was sitting on the edge of my bed in my new apartment about just short of 3 months later. And I had just finished a pint of Ben & Jerry's Cherry Garcia ice cream. I mean, who didn't love Cherry, Garcia from Ben & Jerry's? And I was trying to stop the feeling of the uselessness and just the shame and not deserving of love. But it really didn't work. And at that moment, I was in so much despair because no matter what I did, I was just a failure. So I took my pistol and I put the muzzle to the right side of my temple. And I was praying for the courage to pull the trigger. And I was crying and the tears were just flowing down my face, Deborah. But I suddenly feel my dog, my Jack Russell, her name is Jenny, and she's licking my feet. And I look down at her and her tail is wagging and she's, trying to jump on my legs, to pick her up. And at that moment, I'm looking at her and I could feel how much my dog loved me and how much she needed me. For that brief moment, I felt some love. And I put the gun down and I picked her up